Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Well, I'm out walking today to get some exercise. It's rained all week, and so this is the first day of sunshine that we've had. So I've come out to a local walking track and park near my house, and as I walk, I think about lots of things. So I'll share some of my thoughts with you as we walk. What's been on my mind lately, as I'm sure it has all of you, is the fate of the crew members of the Titan submersible. And of course we all know now pretty much what happened to those people. And I've been following that story, as I'm sure many of you have. And let me just turn this camera around so that you can see where I'm walking. So there we go. Okay, so for almost a week now we've been following the fate of the Titan and of the 5 people on board, and hoping and praying that they would somehow miraculously be rescued. But now that we know that's not going to happen, what I'm disturbed about is the number of people that are suddenly giving interviews and are on YouTube talking about how they knew that the Titan wasn't a safe vehicle. And that's fine, it helps contribute to the maybe to the knowledge base of what happened to those people. But they weren't giving their thoughts and interviews while the search was still going on. And so it kind of bothers me now that all of a sudden they're coming out of the woodwork to talk about it. And it just seems like kind of an attention-grabbing thing to say, oh, I paid to go down to the Titanic on the Titan and wasn't happy with the safety protocol, and so I backed out. And yes, that just seems like an attention-grabbing thing for me. So I'm really bothered by that. Was it a risky thing to do? Absolutely. I mean, there are interviews with Stockton Rush, the owner of Gateway Expeditions, where he himself talked about cutting corners, and he joked about using I think it was a Game Boy controller to navigate the submersible. And there's just all kinds of information out there now about the materials that the submersible was built with and how corners were cut in its construction, and people saying that carbon fiber is not a strong enough material to use to go down in the ocean depths. They say it's fine for aircraft and for boats that stay on top of the water, but not for a vehicle that's going to go down 2.5 miles into the ocean. There is an outstanding video on YouTube. Well, it was an interview between Chris Cuomo and Josh Gates, who is on the television show Expeditions Unknown. And it turns out that Josh had an opportunity to go on the Titan previously, and he went out on the ship and actually did a preliminary dive and had an opportunity to check the situation out, and he backed out. He decided that the safety protocol was just not there. And we all know Josh to be a pretty adventurous guy. So for him to turn down that opportunity and miss being able to make a TV episode out of it, that's a pretty major thing. It's an excellent interview. I think there's a tendency among these new, younger millionaires and billionaires to, especially the dot-com millionaires or the tech billionaires, it seems to me like when they get involved in these adventurous type enterprises, that they want to cut corners. They want to do things cheaper, quicker, faster than anybody else. And this energizes them. This is a passion with them. But sometimes when it comes to something that involves human life, I think you need to stick with some of the more tried and true ways of development and building craft and conducting these type of expeditions. An example of this is Elon Musk. Now, SpaceX has had a lot of successes, and but I was bothered, as I think a lot of people were, by the initial launch of his Starship rocket and how it became unstable and blew up. And it seems like that the reason it blew up was because they couldn't be bothered to take the time to build a proper launch pad. They launched the rocket off of a concrete slab when they should have had a launch pad that had a flame chute, and they should have had water for dampening effects, and they just didn't want to delay the launch anymore in order to do that. So when the rocket took off, the force of the blast basically destroyed the launch pad and kicked debris up into the rocket engines, which disabled the rocket engines and eventually led to the destruction of the rocket. And I know that with rocket startup companies, in the beginning you're going to have more failures than you are successes. But SpaceX is way beyond the point of being a startup. And it just really irritated the hell out of me to see or to hear about Elon Musk being happy, and to hear the SpaceX team cheering and clapping, and for Elon Musk to say that the launch was a success. I mean, to me, that's total BS. And I know the reason he did that. It was so that it was to put a spin on it, you know, for any potential investors or for the U.S. government, anybody who had money sunk into this project. But I'm not fooled by that. I mean, I guess if you're a multi-billionaire, if you're working with defense funds or grants, maybe you can be a little bit more cavalier about these things. But it just doesn't meet with my ethics, if you know what I mean. Look at my Firefly t-shirt that I'm wearing today. I really like this t-shirt. I got this at a store at Universal Studios that sells movie-related things. I don't even know if that store is still there. It was over beside the Terminator ride, which is no longer in existence. But they sold all kinds of cool things like Marvel comics things, hats and t-shirts and figures, you know, models, that type of thing. It's a cool store. But they only had a few of these t-shirts, and now they're all gone. And like I said, I don't know if the store is still there anymore, so I'm happy that I have this t-shirt. So I've been walking for a while and expressing my thoughts, and thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this, hit the like and subscribe button. If you have any thoughts on the disaster of the Titan, you can leave that in the comments below. And now I think I will go over here and sit down and rest a minute and drink some Diet Coke. Thank you for watching.